What's up everyone? Alex here. Welcome to the Backlog Battle Awards, version 1.0. I've made Game of the Year videos almost every year since I started making videos on my channel, but this year, I wanted to go bigger. And so, with the help of our community, I've created this video to not only represent our unique selection of nominees, but to also allow us to look back at the past year in video games. To everyone who nominated and voted for their favorites in this year's awards, thank you from the bottom of my heart. But no award show would ever be complete without a trophy of some kind. So earlier this year, I collaborated with a talented Steph, aka Dice SMS on Twitter, in creating a trophy that captures the spirit of the games we talk about on Backlog Battle. Here's what it looks like. Doesn't it look cool? Apart from announcing your winners, our awards are also unique in that I've also been asked by the community to reveal my picks alongside your choices, and it is my honor to share the stage with you all. But enough of that preamble. I'm proud to announce the winner of this year's Backlog Battle Brawl. Over the span of half a year, you have pitted some of your favorite RPGs against one another, dueling in a deadly 1 versus 1 format that saw many popular series fall. Every single vote you casted in the polls posted on the community tab have led to this moment. The winner of this year's Backlog Battle Brawl is Persona. Congratulations to Persona for winning the brawl, and thank you to everyone who voted during the event. We'll most likely have another brawl next year, so keep checking the channel's community tab to make sure you catch these and many other posts there. Our next award will go to the person voted as Best Community Member. The recipient of this award has exemplified the values of kindness, mutual respect, understanding, and empathy on the various platforms Backlog Battle is present in, and has come to represent the best of what our community has to offer. The winner of Best Community Member is John87. Congratulations to John87 for winning Best Community Member. Over 100 people voted in this category, and if you haven't joined our community yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and the bell icon, and then head over to bit.ly/bb Discord community and meet the wonderful members of our community. The Backlog Battle community is composed of more than just the people who watch our videos. It's also the creators who continue to share their passion and love for games in a meaningful way. And so, I've asked some of my favorite creators to share what their top 3 games of the year are, starting with my close friend, Gamalad. Take it away.
We are starting off this list of a game that wasn't even released this year, but thanks to the English patch I was able to play it this year. Daigaikuken Seiban takes everything that is wonderful and fantastic about the Ace Attorney series and gives it a breath of fresh air. From characters to the music to the story, everything comes together in such a fantastic way that I'm eagerly waiting to play the sequel. And it's a bit funny for me to include this here, because odds are, around this time next year, everyone will be able to play the adventures of Mr. Naruto and Herlock Sholmes. Oh, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I knew I was going to like you, but I really didn't think I was going to like you this much. I was worried that the pivot from Kiryu's beat-em-up combat to Ichiban's turn-based combat would not be a smooth transition, but man was I wrong. Yakuza Like a Dragon easily has some of the best turn-based RPG combat that I have played in one of these games to date, and has a story that is everything I've always wanted in one of these games. Tired of the high school drama that ends up with you fighting a god? Well, now's your chance to play as a band of misfits going through their midlife crisis. Yakuza Like a Dragon seriously has given this series new life to me, and I'm excited to see where RGG Studio takes this from here. And we wrap it up with how we started. The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero is no doubt my game of the year, but it is probably one of my favorite games of all time now. I seriously cannot thank the Geofront team enough for putting out such a quality localization of this game this year. While I'm still making my way through the entire Legend of Heroes series, Trails from Zero is currently the pinnacle of my playthrough for me. From the setting of Crossbell to the amazing special support section, to all the amazing twists and turns this story provides, it is truly an adventure worth remembering. I am waiting with bated breath for Geofront's Azure patch to continue my adventure, but this will definitely go down as one of my favorites of all time.
Thanks, Gamalad. You can find his channel by visiting youtube.com/Gamalad, where he reviews niche games to anyone willing to listen. By the way, I didn't write that description. Next up are the awards for Best Performance. These categories strive to recognize actors whose performances not only gave us some of the year's most memorable moments, but also breathed life into our favorite characters, transcending the boundaries of the medium itself. The nominees for Best Female Performance are Brianna White for Aerith Gainsborough, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Britt Barron for Tifa Lockhart, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Erica Mendez for Natsuno Minami, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. And Sandra SAAD for Kamala Khan, Avengers. And my winner is Erica Mendez for Natsuno Minami, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. And your winner is Brianna White for Aerith Gainsborough, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Next, we have the Best Male Performance category. The nominees for Best Male Performance are Billy Kamitz for Takuto Maruki, Persona 5 Royal. Darren Korb for Zagreus, Hades. Kaiji Tang for Ichiban Kasuga, Yakuza Like a Dragon. And Sean Chiplock for Reen Schwarzer, Trails of Cold Steel 4. And the winner is Kaiji Tang for Ichiban Kasuga, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Congratulations to the winners! On behalf of our community, I'd like to thank all the nominees for the work you've done during this pandemic and look forward to brighter days ahead. Our next guest is a dear friend of mine from when I used to stream on Twitch, and she also just recently started posting her adventures here on YouTube. Join me in checking out Bunnytail's top 3 games of 2020.
So, my top 3 games of 2020. Let's start with my criteria. I'm choosing from all the games I played this year, regardless of release date. That being said, it seems for the first time ever my top 3 games actually did all come out this year. Weird. These are the games that I enjoyed the most in 2020. Number 3 is Ghost of Tsushima. This game has by far my favorite opening sequence of the year. If you played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ghost of Tsushima also had my favorite combat of the year with all the dodging, parrying, different fighting stances, as well as a wide array of different tools and weapons available to use. The music, paired with the beautiful landscapes and locales, made for a very awe-inspiring journey across the island of Tsushima, which made me, someone who never touches photo mode in games, stop to snap many pictures. Number 2 is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. Originally, I had this a bit lower on my list due to the fact that it's a remake and it's not even the full game, etc, etc, but I just can't deny how much I enjoyed my experience with this game. Yes, this is nostalgia talking, and I'm super biased, but it's my list, so I think I'm allowed. I was super worried how the remake would be handled, but aside from a few nitpicks, I am very happy with how it turned out. I loved how they expanded the first section of the original game, and I felt the combat balanced the old and new very well. Also, Brianna White is perfect as best girl, Aerith. And finally, my number 1 game is Persona 5 Royal. There's just something special about this series that keeps you absolutely hooked from start to finish, despite how long these games take. For some reason, the back and forth between dungeon crawling and slice of life is a formula that works incredibly well. The soundtrack is phenomenal, and the cast of characters and supporting characters are all very complex, each struggling with their own unique set of personal issues. I spent over 200 hours playing this game, and I regret nothing except for the fact that it had to end.
You can find her playing lots of story-driven games on her Twitch channel at twitch.tv/bunnytails, as well as sharing her experience and love of games on her YouTube channel at youtube.com/bunnytails. Thanks, Bunnytails. Our next set of awards recognize our favorite characters of the year. Characters are the cornerstone of a great story, and their presence makes a tremendous impact on the enjoyment of the games we play. The nominees for Best Female Character are AERITH Gainsborough, Final Fantasy VII Remake; Freya, Coffee Talk; Kasumi Yoshizawa, Persona 5 Royal; and Yuki Takamiya, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. And my winner is Freya from Coffee Talk. And your winner is AERITH Gainsborough from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Next, we have the award for Best Male Character. The nominees are Ichiban Kasuga, Yakuza Like a Dragon; Shu Amiguchi, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim; Takatoshi Hijiyama, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim; and Zagreus, Hades. And the winner is Ichiban Kasuga, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Congratulations to all the winners, and here's hoping that 2021 brings more memorable characters for us to meet and hang out with. Before we continue, I'd like to acknowledge that our community recognizes that gender is a spectrum, and that the manner in which we decided to split up our best performances and character categories utilize an antiquated system. That said, work on next year's awards has already begun, and on behalf of our community, I pledge to do our best to better represent everyone in the future. For my next guest, I've only started chatting with him over the past few months, but in that short time, I've gotten to know him a ton better. Spoiler alert, he's as genuine as he sounds in his videos. Let's go and check out Taylor's top 3 games of 2020.
One game in 2020 that I was highly anticipating but didn't really expect to love as much as I did was Sakura Wars. What really drew me in were the characters. It was so enjoyable to learn about each and see where their stories went. And even though it switched from a strategy combat to an action combat style, it was simple but really fun. And I even went on to get the Platinum Trophy in the game, which I don't do all that often, so you know Sakura Wars was something special. Oh, and that main theme song, I can't get it out of my head. In fact, I still listen to it to this day. One game that I heard nothing but glowing praise for was 13 Sentinels, particularly about its story. And when I finally got the chance to play it, I understood immediately. Its story seamlessly weaves together 13 different characters' stories, keeping you at the edge of your seat at every turn. And just when you think you have 13 Sentinels figured out, it throws a curveball out of nowhere and hooks you all over again. Too many people slept on this game this year, including myself, so if you haven't given 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim a try, absolutely find a way to do it. My game of the year for 2020 is unquestionably Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have extreme nostalgia for the original game, and the way Square Enix recreated the characters, music, and particular moments wowed me and at times even brought me to tears. Simply existing in this world was a real treat. I love just walking around the different environments. And it sucks that this is only part 1 of a multi-part series, but if this is the quality level we can expect, I can't wait to see what Square does next.
If you enjoy lists, reviews, and other fun videos covering JRPGs, then be sure to check out The Gaming Shelf at youtube.com/thegamingshelf. Next is a category that is near and dear to my heart, and one of the most representative of Backlog Battle: Best Yakuza Like a Dragon Karaoke Song. This is the sequel to a video I released 2 years ago asking you what your favorite Yakuza karaoke songs were. For this category, we are considering both English and Japanese versions of the songs featured in Yakuza Like a Dragon when making our selection. The nominees of Best Yakuza Like a Dragon Karaoke Song are Bakamitai, Hell Stew, Like a Butterfly, Machine Gun Kiss, Spring Breeze, the future I dreamed of. And the winner is Bakamitai. Congratulations to Bakamitai for winning this category, though I suspect many of you were probably not surprised by the win. Speaking of Yakuza Like a Dragon, Cullen has been playing this game a lot recently, and I think our wires got crossed when he sent in his top 3 games of 2020. Go take a look.
Have you played Yakuza Like a Dragon yet? Ichiban is amazing, we all love him, but you wanna know what I love the most? Ichiban loves Dragon Quest, and you should too. My name is Cullen, and I'm going to offer my opinions on the best 3 games to start with in 2 minutes. I played them this year. It counts. You might expect me to list the series' beloved 5th entry, but I'm not going to do that. I'm listing Dragon Quest IV simply because it's underrated. If DQ3 is the game that introduced long-lasting series traditions, 4's implementation of them is what makes them still mainstays today. The game is broken up into chapters where you don't even get full control of the main character until the last one, instead having you play out the stories of your party members first. The world building is cool, and the pacing is awesome. It was remade for the DS in 2007 and would have been the definitive version, but the Western release removed party chat, which made up for a massive chunk of the script. Play the mobile version. It added it back in. Hey Square, please port it to Switch. Dragon Quest VIII was the first fully 3D Dragon Quest game. You play as a knight of a kingdom that was destroyed by a jester, because clowns. The story is subtle, so subtle in fact that it didn't really hit me hard until the post-game, where I cried like a baby. It was remade on the DS in 2017, and despite some downsides, that is the definitive version. Hey Square, port it to Switch! Dragon Quest XI, specifically S, is a masterpiece. It takes everything good about the RPG genre and gently souffles it to perfection. I don't have time to gush about it, I do that plenty on Twitter. There's a 10-hour demo available on every platform, see for yourself. Buy it, Sylvando's in it. Hey Square, thank you for porting this one to Switch. That version got ported to other systems this month, and is now the best way to play this masterpiece. I hope these ramblings somehow interested you in the world of Dragon Quest. Play Dragon Quest, play all the Dragon Quests, love Dragon Quest, join us in hating the composer, love slimes.
They will become your reason for existing.
Thanks, Cullen. If you'd like to see slightly more coherent ramblings on niche games, you can find his channel at youtube.com/drcullenphd. We're halfway through the awards, but I'm curious, have any of your picks won so far? Sound off and let us know in the comments below. Our next category, Best Battle Theme, represents the songs that pump us up and keep us going through every skirmish, often capturing the spirit and energy of the games they represent. The nominees for Best Battle Theme are Doom Eternal by Mick Gordon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Nobuo Uematsu, Persona 5 Royal, Shoji Meguro, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, Hidenori Soji. And my winner is Yakuza Like a Dragon, Hidenori Soji. And your winner is Persona 5 Royal, Shoji Meguro. I'd like to remind everyone that we do have a collaborative playlist on Spotify with over 200 songs curated by the community, so I highly recommend checking out the link in the description of this video and add your favorites on there. I've admired our guest for years, even before I started on YouTube, and I'm proud to be working with him on his contribution to this year's awards. Let's go and check out Super Derek RPG's top 3 games of 2020.
Full disclosure, I usually play a mix of retro and new RPGs, and sometimes when it comes to picking out a game of the year, things can be pretty tough because I really only play a handful at most of brand new RPGs. However, this year I actually did manage to play 3 RPGs that came out in 2020. Of the games up for nomination from me this year are Trials of Mana Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and of course, Trials of Mana, the original on the Collection of Mana. That was finally released in the West after 20 years of waiting. Miracles do happen. So given the choice between these three, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm going to have to hand my Game of the Year award over to the Square Enix action RPG that's just been so simple to pick up and play and enjoy. The combat is fluid, the characters are fun, and wait, why are we showing Final Fantasy VII Remake footage? Alright, if you didn't see that fake out coming, then you haven't been on YouTube very long. But the fact of the matter is, I'm guessing that everybody and their mom has had a go at Final Fantasy VII Remake this year, and despite playing and enjoying the game fully, I do in fact feel that Trials of Mana Remake gets my Game of the Year award. I do feel that Trials of Mana was just as good in a way that doesn't set it up for a typical Game of the Year material. The combat is far more pick up and play friendly, the storyline is simpler, and there's a whole lot less meta drama stirring the pot for is it as good as the original or is it faithless rehash for extra cash? It's the sort of game you can easily get lost in for hours. It's bright and colorful and reminiscent of a different time because through and through this game is from a different time along with its own set of flaws, and for people like me, there's something oddly comforting about that. This game won't blow your mind, your time, or your wallet into oblivion, and it is a shining example of how to expand upon the original while retaining what makes the original so good in the first place. And that's why the game has earned itself a spot for my Game of the Year.
Thanks, Derek. You can find his insightful reviews and up-to-date weekly RPG news videos at youtube.com/SuperDerekYT. Our next category brings more specificity into our awards, recognizing the best soundtracks in games this year. The best soundtracks paint an aural landscape that is unique to its game's identity, whose melodies evoke feelings and emotions well beyond our experiences. The nominees for Best Soundtrack are 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Base Escape, led by Hitoshi Sakamoto, Coffee Talk, Andrew Jeremy, Final Fantasy VII Remake, led by Masashi Hamauzu, featuring original compositions from Nobuo Uematsu. Persona 5 Royal, Shoji Meguro. And Yakuza Like a Dragon, led by Hidenori Shoji. And my winner is Yakuza Like a Dragon, led by Hidenori Shoji. And your winner is Persona 5 Royal, Shoji Meguro. Congratulations to all the winners, and remember to check out our Spotify playlist and listen and add your favorite songs on there. I've known our next guest for a decade now, and I'm proud to call him one of my closest and dearest friends. Let's go and check out Daniel Santos' top 3 games of 2020.
Hey everyone, a big thanks to Alex for having me here. My top 3 are in no particular order, and my only criteria is that the game was either released in 2020 or had some form of new content released throughout the year. And with that, here are my picks. The original Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games. With that in mind, while it isn't perfect, I'm happy to say that the remake was able to preserve what I loved about the original. I appreciate that it was trying to do something different, and despite stumbling in a few areas, the parts where it succeeds makes it all worth it in the end. Here's hoping part 2 is even better. The original Super Hot is a first-person shooter. It had unique visuals and an addictive gameplay hook wherein time marches forward only when you move your character around. This made it so that each level was less like an action romp in the vein of Doom and more akin to a puzzle. Super Hot Mind Control Delete stealth dropped earlier this year and is honestly more of the same. Personally speaking, I found the core mechanics of the original Super Hot so fun and enjoyable that tweaking it even just a little bit is enough for me to get wrapped up in it all over again and spend hours slow-mo dodging bullets, throwing swords at red dudes' faces, and getting that dopamine rush as the game bellows. Super hot. I have to thank Alex yet again here, as he played a pivotal role in getting me into FF14 at all. 300 hours of game time later, and no, I'm not exaggerating, and I'm still enthralled by the game. Whether I'm leveling up all the different classes, going through multiple dungeons and raids, or getting wrapped up in the story, nearly every aspect of this game has had me completely hooked, and I absolutely cannot wait to see more.
Daniel is a video essayist who loves deep dives into games and anime, and you'll find his work at youtube.com/ShintaiReviews. He also wants me to say how handsome he is and that he is currently single. So ladies, you know where to find him. Thanks, man. Our next category is Best Visual Design. Visual design is more than just how great a game looks. It also describes the coherency and how every single element of the game's visual aesthetic design comes together in creating an environment where players are wholly immersed in the experience. The nominees in Best Visual Design are 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Coffee Talk, Hades, Persona 5 Royal, and Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. And my winner is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. And your winner is Persona 5 Royal. Congratulations to the Persona team, Vanillaware, and Atlus for this win. We might not have agreed on who won, but Atlus sure wins this one. Last but certainly not least, our next guest's takes and games are something I've truly enjoyed watching, and I frankly can't wait to watch more videos from him in the next year. Here's Tark's Gauntlet's top 3 games of 2020.
When it comes to picking the best games of the year, I have a very simple philosophy. I just pick whatever was the most engaging and fulfilling for whatever reason. Though I do have one caveat: no ports, no by-the-numbers remakes, remasters, or expansions. With that out of the way, for the Tark's Awards Game of the Year for 2020, here are the nominees. The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 4. Sporting a rich world and an ambitious cast of characters, this arc's finale lands as one of the generation's most cathartic experiences. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Spawned from the brilliant minds and talented artists of Vanillaware, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim is an aggressively unique narrative experiment and a sci-fi tour de force. Paper Mario: The Origami King. This latest adventure, starring gaming's most iconic mustachioed mascot, wins smiles from start to finish with its relentless charm and wit. Ladies and gentlemen, my vote is in, and the judges have counted, and the winner is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. With numerous intersecting subplots, high-concept sci-fi narrative devices, looping time mechanics, and branching paths, 13 Sentinels contains one of the most abstract and enthralling narrative experiments I've ever seen. Combat is a fun blend of RTS visuals and ATB crossed with SRPG mechanics. The art showcases Vanillaware at their best and ensures this will be an amazing-looking game for generations to come. There will not be another game like this anytime soon, and if you have not checked it out, 13 Sentinels is absolutely not an experience to be missed.
On his channel, Tarks takes honest looks at niche Japanese games many people usually don't cover, so if that sort of thing interests you, check him out at youtube.com/TarksGauntlet. Thanks, Tarks. The next 3 awards are a huge deal to me, as they represent the cornerstone of many of the games we feature on Backlog Battle. This next one, Best Story, not only describes the quality of the tales we're told, but also encompasses how they're presented, allowing us to experience a narrative that can only be told through the medium of video games. The nominees in Best Story are 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Coffee Talk, Hades, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and the winner is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. If you haven't played 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim yet, I hope this unanimous win will convince you to try it out sooner rather than later. Congratulations to Vanillaware and Atlus for this win. Our next category is Best Gameplay. Video games are defined by gameplay, as it is the way we interact with the worlds we ventured forth. It's through our actions in-game that turn us from a passive observer of its story to an active participant, allowing us to take part in worlds that were once limited by our imagination. The nominees for Best Gameplay are 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Yakuza Like a Dragon. And my winner is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. And your winner is Final Fantasy VII Remake. I personally couldn't think of a better pairing of games to win this category. Congratulations to Square Enix, Vanillaware, and Atlus. 2020 was one of the most difficult years in recent memory, and for many of us, we sought shelter in the games we play. It's because of this that video games became an even more important part of our daily lives. Before we announce our picks for Game of the Year, I'd like to take the time to look back at the games that have given us some good times this year. And we've come to the final award, the coveted Game of the Year. Before we award this, I want to say how proud I am to host a show that truly represents what our community is all about. Thank you, one and all. The nominees for Game of the Year are 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghosts of Tsushima, Persona 5 Royal, Yakuza Like a Dragon. My pick for Game of the Year is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. And our 2020 Game of the Year, as chosen by the Backlog Battle community, is Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon was a heartfelt journey from beginning to end, and to see it on top of this list is a validation that the future will be bright for Ichiban and company. As for my pick, we will never, and I mean never, play a game like 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim ever again, and in doing so, it handily wins my pick for 2020's Game of the Year. Congratulations to the winners, and thank you for watching the Backlog Battle Awards. I'm hoping that this show has encouraged you to try out games beyond what you usually play, and that you've had a great time taking this journey with us over the past year. I'd also love to hear what you think of this video in the comments below. The links to everything and everyone featured in this video can be found in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next year.